So I've been with the company for almost 7 years now. I started in our entry-level position, was there for 8 to 12 months, and then got promoted to assistant manager, onto branch manager, and by 3 years with the company, I was promoted to this role in talent acquisition. So a lot of growth opportunities in different departments or divisions. A great place to go if you don't know what you want to do with your career after college. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the company. Again, those opportunities that we have full-time and internships. If you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. So who has heard of Enterprise? Hopefully everybody. We're pretty much everywhere. So Enterprise Holdings is our umbrella brand. We run Enterprise Rent-A-Car, National Car Rental, as well as Alamo Car Rental. We're across the U.S., so in fiscal year 2022, we brought in $30 billion in revenue. We have over 5,000 locations in the U.S. We operate in 90 countries. We have over 2 million vehicles in our fleet with 80,000 employees. And as of this most recent year, we're America's 9th largest privately held company. Still growing, so exciting things to come. But we will talk more about those brands. So I'm sure everyone has heard of Enterprise. Has anyone heard of National and Alamo as well? Okay. So Enterprise acquired National and Alamo about 16 years ago. And typically when a business acquires a smaller operation, they absorb that brand and put it under the bigger brand. Enterprise decided to keep those brands separate because each brand targeted a different part of the rental car market. So our national business line is targeted towards business travelers. Typically the price point is a little bit higher than Alamo or Enterprise, but you get a lower mileage vehicle that is a higher car class. Then we have our Alamo brand, which is targeted towards leisure travel, so family vacations, flying in and out of airports, a cost-effective option. And then finally, we have our Enterprise brand, which is probably the most recognizable because it is in local communities, there to support if you have an accident, your car needs to get fixed, you go to Enterprise to get that rental. And under Enterprise, there are a lot of different business lines that we have. So everyone's pretty used to the car rental line, but we also have our car sales division. So if a vehicle has reached its rental life limit, we can sell it through our car sales team, just like a regular dealership that you would come across for Ford, Chevy, whatever that looks like. We have our truck rental department. We actually have a location in Waterbury for truck. They rent larger box trucks, pickup trucks with towing capabilities, cargo vans, really targeted at small business owners who need to move materials but may not necessarily be able to buy a large truck for their business. And then we have things like our exotic car division. Those are super cool cars that are rented out of our larger airport locations. Things like Jaguars, Porsches, Maseratis, Ferraris, all those cool cars. Also a career opportunity to move into if you do progress within the company. Aside from the rental part of our operation, we do also have a huge imprint in our philanthropic efforts. Enterprise, one of our founding values is that we give back to the communities that support us. So there are various ways that Enterprise has donated monies to support social and racial equity, disaster relief efforts through the Red Cross, and food insecurity through our Fill Your Tank program. Aside from that, not only does the company in general donate money to these organizations, but us as individual employees can also request money from the Enterprise Foundation, which is the charitable arm of our organization. And you can donate to any organization that's a nonprofit that you are interested in, that you're involved in, that you come across. So the company does support us as individual employees to also get involved with the communities that we work in the local area. So who we are as an employer. Enterprise is one of the largest employers of recent college grads through our management training program, which we'll talk about in a little bit, as well as our accounting and finance roles. Enterprise as a company only promotes from within. So everyone, including our CEO, starts in the entry-level position, and we promote based off performance, not off time in a position. So you really do have the opportunity to push your career forward based off of the effort and the results that you produce. With that, we do have comprehensive benefits that include medical, vision, dental, prescription options. We have a 401k program. And because Enterprise is privately held, we don't have stock options. So instead, we have a profit sharing program. or after your first year anniversary with the company, you are eligible to receive that profit sharing bonus that's direct deposited into your 401k. So on top of the match that the company is already giving you for what you contribute, you get another bonus on top of that. It does make a huge impact on your ability to save for your future. Volunteering in the community, again, not just money that we want to send our organizations that we're passionate about. The company gives you a paid day off each year to volunteer. So if you are a part of Special Olympics, a shelter in the area, you see a food drive you want to participate in, you don't have to worry if it's on a work day. You can submit that day and you will get paid for that opportunity. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, again, a huge part of our organization. We have employee-driven groups that are directly related to these areas. So the bottom picture here is our Women in Leadership team. It's an organization that was started within our territory in Connecticut and Western Mass of our female managers to do workshops to support that growth and learning how to deal with different situations, overcoming challenging things that you experience as a leader. We also have our BEAT team, which is our Black Enterprise Action Team, which is there to drive awareness and kind of spread that excitement about the efforts that we're making when it comes to diversity and inclusion. And then within the past 2 weeks, I would say, we had an employee start Enterprise, which is the LGBTQ+ employee resource group. So again, these are, I think, cool because they're not something coming from corporate saying, here's the structure of what it has to be, this is what you need to do. These are our employees coming together to create these groups to support other employees. So as an employee, you have the opportunity to join these groups or potentially create your own. And then lastly, everything we do revolves around teamwork. In our branches, you are working hands-on with your team. I think one of the best things about this is that your manager got to where they are because they had to be successful in their role. So you're never teaching your manager how to do your job because we don't hire from the outside. So there is a lot of support and camaraderie that comes with working in that type of environment. Any questions so far? So our recruiting and hiring process, we'll talk about a little bit more about that as it relates to the positions that we have available. But we're here to find the right talent, again, through those career fairs, through classroom presentations. And we don't look for experience necessarily. We don't need you to have 5 years experience in graphic design or whatever it might be. Or you don't have to have a certain degree type. We hire all majors. We have 2 managers that are culinary majors. We have a manager that's a biology major. It doesn't really matter what your background is, as long as you have those abilities that we look for, which are those competencies. Has anyone heard of behavioral style interviewing? Not yet? You're shaking your head like they should.
We talked about it a little bit. My memory's worse than yours.
The interview style that we do is behavioral style interviewing. So what we're really looking at is ways for you to give examples of the experiences that you've had. Because you talking through the way you handle different situations in the past is a good indicator of how you're going to handle similar situations in the future. So tell me about a time when you helped an angry customer, or tell me about a time when you worked in a fast-paced environment. Those are the kind of situational questions that you're going to come across, not only in our position, but I'm sure in other companies as well. And the best way to answer those types of questions is the STAR method. Has anyone heard of the STAR method?
We used SAR in my class and Professor Montanero, situation, action, result, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very similar. We throw task in there. So situation, you're painting the picture, you're setting the background, give us some information that we may not know about a niche industry or your position that you are working in. The task, what you had to accomplish, the action, the steps you took to accomplish it, and then finally the results, which is definitely the most important part. We want to know that you were successful in doing what you were trying to do. So did you reach that goal? Did you make the customer happy? Did you lead your team? We want to be able to get that answer. So using those methods is how we, again, look for the competencies that we hire for, which in the management training program and the management internship will be very similar. Our management trainee position is our full-time entry-level role where everyone in the company starts. That is for students graduating at the end of this semester or students that have already graduated. The internship opportunity we have available is for rising seniors, so students graduating in December 2023 or May 2024. And if you're not yet a rising senior, we do have seasonal customer service and sales opportunities that are a good way to get your foot in the door with the company, start networking, and potentially turn that into an internship. Are there any finance or accounting majors in the room? When are you graduating?
Next year.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So we also have a business management program. It's similar to the management trainee program in that everyone starts at the entry-level position, but we have a business management internship that's focused in accounting and finance, more so than customer service and sales. But again, good way to get your foot in the door and potentially secure a full-time job offer with the company. So to go through a little bit more about the trainee program, again, it's the role with the career path. So you're coming in to learn what it takes to be a business owner, what it takes to be an entrepreneur. But the best part about it is you're playing with house money. So if you make a mistake in your branch, you're not coming out of your pocket to pay for it. Enterprise is paying for it. So it's a good way to build your business development skills without kind of sacrificing your own money. You're learning about sales, financial analysis, management, employee development, customer service, fleet control and logistics, and again, entrepreneurship. That said, when it comes to the interview process, we're not asking you questions about financial analysis. We're going to ask questions about your work ethic. You know, have you taken on a lot of responsibilities at once? And if so, how have you managed it? Your flexibility, are you willing to jump in and help others do something that you may not naturally want to do? As well as some customer service and persuasive questions. Some of the great things about the training program is we reward hard work. So for example, top photo there is our branch manager, Laura. She is holding the customer service trophy. So if your branch has the highest customer service for the month, you get to keep that trophy and your name gets engraved on the bottom. For our top performers each quarter, you go to an event we call Best of the Best. So the top performers across our territory get the opportunity to network as well as have a day out having fun, to get to know other employees in the group, get their name out there for promotional opportunities. We do fun events like a Red Sox game, we've done a Pats game, we've done a sailing tour of Newport, a lot of different things that can get you out of the office, get you that exposure, and help you grow your career. Any questions about the training position?
Katie, we do have folks online and they can submit their questions in the chat if they would prefer, rather than to call out. So we're monitoring the chat.
Okay, thank you. Just to give you guys a visual here of that career path, because we can talk about it, but until you see it, makes it a little easier. So as I mentioned, everyone starts in that trainee position. It's typically about 8 to 12 months that you're in the role for. Once you complete the trainee program, you're then promoted to a management assistant role. Typically, that's just an intermediary position. You've done the program, now you're really displaying your leadership ability to get promoted to that next level as an assistant manager. I will say it is definitely achievable to reach assistant manager by your first year anniversary with the company. After being an assistant manager, you can then move on to branch manager, continue on to area manager where you're overseeing 7 to 10 stores in the territory, and then continuing up from there in terms of leadership. But really, once you get to that branch manager position, you'll also have the opportunity to explore different career opportunities in our fleet rental division, HR, risk management, business-to-business sales. You don't really have to have a particular additional degree or level of experience aside from enterprise to be able to progress into those roles. So with my career, I went up to branch manager and then kind of shout out to HR, but you don't have to stay there. The area manager who actually covers our Waterbury territory, he was a branch manager before going to our, walking too close to the camera, business sales team. He was in that role for about 5 years, and then he went back to area manager. He got promoted to area manager. So it doesn't have to be a linear progression of your career. You can try a different avenue, and go back to a different career when you decide it could be the right move for you. There we go. All right, cool. When it comes to our management trainee internships, these are available right now, again, for rising seniors. The internship mirrors the first 2 to 3 months of the entry-level position. We do that because we want you to be able to gain those real-life experiences, hands-on in our operation, be able to use those skills going forward. It's definitely not an internship where you're getting coffee and filing paperwork. We want you to be an integrated member of the team and see how the results you produce impact the profitability of your branch. With our internship opportunities, if you do have a successful summer and are interested, we do offer full-time opportunities post-graduation. So you could potentially secure that job offer before you leave to go back to school. And with that, if you do accept the offer, you can continue to work part-time through the fall and spring semesters if your schedule allows it. With that, the summer internship is full-time. It is paid. You are working with your team. It's not a remote internship. It is in person. We want you to get, again, that full experience with us. And it is competitive. We do have scholarship awards that go out to our top 4 interns each summer. So a good way to get some more money before you go back to school and show that you are the best of the best. Aside from our summer internships, we do also hold part-time internships through the fall and spring semesters. So if your summer is booked, but you're graduating next May, you can apply to the part-time internships through the, again, fall and spring semesters, 20 to 25 hours a week, still paid and would be in the local area. So we have locations in Waterbury, Watertown, Southington, what am I saying, Meriden, as well as the greater Hartford area if you don't live in the local area. And then lastly would be the customer experience representative opportunities. These roles are great for students that are not yet eligible for internships. So we typically have a lot of sophomores applying. I'm not sure if there's sophomores in the room, but it's a seasonal position. It would be at either our airport locations or our local home city offices. It's a good way to get your foot in the door, understand some of our business processes with customer service, sales, again, leadership and employee development, and has the potential to turn that into an internship the next summer. And that is what I have for you all. Are there?
I recall Marriott. I went to Marriott Individual Development Program many years ago as HR. And I've always said to students, enterprise, I understand, you've heard me say this, that's probably one of the best management training programs. And in my mind, it seems to have stood out with the Marriott Introduction Training Program. And I know there were at least one or two of my prior students in the college to career program who were hired or who were hired in enterprise. So I've asked them, where someone, I don't know if they're still there, but they can identify with those employees at enterprise who were post-university students, it would be a really introduction to both the company as well as perhaps what's it like to work for enterprise.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know there's a career fair coming up. So I will be looking into any post-alums that we have working for us currently to have them with me at the fair so they can talk about the experiences that they've had, what you've had, relate to that, and see how they can connect with you. Yes.
I was curious about you said 8 to 12 months for like the trainee. I'm just curious as to like if people don't progress past that point, are they sort of looked at as a lost cause, or do you keep them on and work with them further? Yeah,
so if you don't finish the program in 12 months, it's not like you're fired or you're written up or anything. We still want to see that you're attempting to make that progress. We're going to continue to provide that support. That said, say you're going through the management trainee program and you see that there's a position within the company that might be a better fit. So for our truck rental division, everything hires from the trainee program. So our truck rental division, more so an outside sales position, you could progress into that track. With that position, there's still opportunities to grow in management. But again, you're not kind of stuck in one position. We definitely want to make sure we find a place that's good for your career and what your skill set matches.
Sounds good, sounds good.
Can you speak to, so we have some virtual students attending. I'm not sure how many of them are local. There may be some that are from out of town or out of state. And if there might be opportunities for them with Enterprise.
Yes. So great thing about Enterprise is there's an Enterprise every 15 miles. So you can't go too far without running into a branch. That said, the opportunities are open across the country for the entry-level management trainee program as well as the internship. So if you aren't in the Connecticut, Massachusetts, or Rhode Island area, you can let us know. We'll connect you with the recruiter for the territory that you are living in or will be living in. That said, to share a personal anecdote, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated college. I was a marketing major. There's a million things you can do with that. You can do sales, you can do digital marketing, analyzing a brand, all of that. But where do you start and how do you get into those industries? And one thing that I found attractive about Enterprise is you're getting exposure to a lot of different avenues of business. So starting in the program, I was all gung-ho on sales. I wanted a sales job. I wanted to be a pharmaceutical sales rep. That was going to be my life when I graduated school. But going through the trainee program, understanding how our business operates, how to drive results, how to connect with a team, I found that I really loved the company culture, the opportunities that we have to network inside and outside of work, and the growth that I had seen in my career, and I wanted to be able to share that. So when a position opened in talent acquisition, I didn't have to have an HR degree, I didn't have to have experience in HR. It was more so I knew the business, I was producing results as a manager, and they trusted me with that responsibility, which is pretty cool because it was a career change 5 years into my professional career. And I was able to, go down that different path and see the growth that I've seen so far. Yes.
Being that you're a skill-based promotional company, do you find that there's any tension between employees that maybe they think they're like better than them because they're older, or oh, this young person is taking is there any of that? Or
in my experience, no. And I think it's because everyone starts at that same level. If we had some people coming in as assistant managers or branch managers and then, they got promoted over the next person, that could be something. Yes, we are competitive, but we don't set the expectation that it needs to be cutthroat. And if you don't hit your sales mark 1 month, it's not like we're coming after you. You have the opportunities to make up for that and to continue to progress. That said, we relate our branch teams to a sports team. So you want to be a starter, you want to be a great, performer, you want to get to that next level, but you're not going to sacrifice the success of your team just to make yourself look better. Just as important as sales in the promotional process is teamwork and leadership. So if you are not assisting your other team members and improving their skill sets, you're not demonstrating what it takes to be a leader. Awesome question.
Can you speak to the importance of the following? Resumes from candidates, their LinkedIn profiles, and the importance of professional brand.
Yes, brand is everything. Even in Enterprise, it's something that we continually have workshops on because your reputation precedes you, especially in a company where we only promote from within. Everyone gets to know everyone, their work ethic, their drive, their results. So it's important that you are always maintaining that level of professionalism in front of people who work below you or above you. When it comes to resumes, very important that you have a clear and organized resume. I know fun fonts can be nice, but they can be difficult to read. And in my experience with interviewing, I'm looking at your resume for maybe max a minute. I want to know when you're graduating. I want to know what jobs you've had, if you're a part of any clubs or organizations. I'm going to look through those quickly because then I can relate some of the topics that we talk about to experiences that you've had. But I would say you need your resume to be clear, concise, a page if you can make it a page, to be able to clearly communicate, again, what you've experienced, and then I can use that to assist me in the interview process. And there's one other thing you said, LinkedIn. Yes, LinkedIn is a great tool. We love to use LinkedIn to show the growth in our career path. We encourage you to look at those different managers that you come across in the interview process and how they've progressed, because everyone's story is different, but everyone has a story. Similarly with your LinkedIn's, any information that shows what you're involved in, things you've accomplished is going to make you stand out. But it is something that as employers, we do LinkedIn searches. We want to be able to see the best of what you have on your profile, not just, as a lifeguard for 2 summers, and that's it. What did you learn from that? What were some skills you built? Kind of help us understand who you are.
You talked about behavioral interviews and how you conduct them using those types of questions and the STAR method, which everyone who takes CTC grade 1 will learn. But can you speak to some interview skills or interview tips that you might recommend to students, perhaps going on interviews for the first time or new to the process of interviewing?
Yeah, I think especially nowadays with technology, a lot of interviews will be virtual. I know our first round interviews are virtual, and it's important to remember that just because it's a virtual interview doesn't mean it's any less formal than an in-person interview. Make sure you're aware of what's in your background, especially if you're in your dorm. If you have messy clothes hanging in the back, if you have posters hanging up. I can't tell you how many weird and interesting things I've seen that have been total distractors during the interview, and it's not the impression you want to give. Similarly, the eye contact piece is so important in a virtual interview, because where you are on your computer screen isn't where your camera is. So it's important to distinguish where to look when you're talking and where to look when you're listening, because if you have your screen over here where I am, but your camera's over here and I'm staring at the side of your face, that's not going to be a successful interview. So just be mindful of that. I find it helpful to look into the camera, because then I'm not staring at the person who's interviewing me and wondering if they're judging what I'm saying or if they like what I'm saying. If you're looking directly at your camera, you don't notice them, but you're still making the eye contact that interviewers want to see. In-person interviewing, be early. If you're on time, you might be cutting it too close. Make sure you don't have gum. Make sure your phone is off. I can't tell you how many times you put it on vibrate, you feel it in your pocket, you're talking, and all of a sudden you hesitate because you know your phone's going off, and then you have to try and stop it or re-find your word path. Leave it in your car if you can. If not, make sure you turn it off before the interview. Any other interview questions?
You said something very, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You said something very important. We talk about the R word here, not references. That's another R word. We talk about results. It's one thing to talk about your duties and responsibilities, but as all of you have heard me say many times, it's the R word. I asked them also to lose the word hard work from their resume. In probably over the 1,000 interviews I have conducted or overseen, as you probably know, I don't know one applicant that's ever answered the question, no, I'm not a hard worker. I have yet to hear that from an applicant, because I don't ask the question. But if I did, I assume they would say, oh, of course I'm a hard worker. It's not about hard work, it's about results. And the clearer you can articulate the results of the work you do, the more you are likely to continue the conversation in the interview.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think, a lot of people get stuck on work experience that they've had. But I know when I was interviewing for jobs, the only real job I had was working in a daycare. Otherwise, my experience was through clubs and organizations on campus and sports. So if you don't have a lengthy job history of different things that you've done, think about those activities that you're involved in. Are you a leader of an organization? If you're on a sports team, how do you motivate your team? How do you get them engaged? That can help you provide those clear stories that you want to tell with those results that are tangible, versus trying to wing it and giving a general example because you can't directly relate it back to the work experience you had.
Any other questions? How about from the folks online?
Yes.
How is the process work for international students?
So it would depend on sponsorship. We are not able to issue sponsorship for students now or in the future when it comes to working. That said, Enterprise is across the globe. So if you are living in a territory outside of the US over the summer or full-time after graduation, we can try and connect you with the recruiters for that area, because we still do have the management trainee and management trainee internship opportunities outside of the US.
Any other questions?
So the recruiter in me, if any of the students are interested in pursuing an opportunity with Enterprise Holdings, what should their next step be?
Yes, I have business cards up here. You can take one. Feel free to reach out. If you would like, I will also take your contact information. I can send you a follow-up email. Let me know a little bit about when you're graduating, what you're interested in, and I will send you a direct link to those opportunities. Because whether you're a May grad or a rising senior, we are accepting applications for both the full-time and internship positions. So we would start the interview process then. Yes.
What is the time frame for the internship? Like around when it starts and finishes?
Yeah, so our interns start late May, early June, and go 10 to 12 weeks through the summer. So typically you're done early August, possibly late July, depending on when you start. And then again, if you're offered the opportunity for full-time, you can continue to work.
Thank you.
We have at least one student who, Tom, was a data analyst. Is there a data analyst, I assume that some department addresses a multitude of analytics that Enterprise does? Does that position lead from, or could it lead from the entry-level training into operations management or that role?
I would say it could, but not necessarily in our local territory. Those data analysts are housed out of our corporate headquarters in St. Louis. That said, those entry-level positions would be open there. I don't know if they have remote opportunities that don't require relocation to Missouri, but it could be something we can look into if you're interested.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much, Katie. This has been such a great opportunity for the students and host, and we really appreciate all of the knowledge that you bring. I do have to say that we have a little raffle, if you don't mind. I'm just going to take a moment, and for all of those who are in attendance, you were eligible to be entered into a drawing to win a $25 Amazon gift card. So I'm going to go ahead right now and give you name. And for our online folks as well. And then you will be notified. And so the winner is Pablo. Via email, so stay tuned for that. And it looks like we may have a question in the chat before we officially close out. Yes, thank you. So I'd like to take an opportunity to thank my colleagues, Christina Cummings and Linda Schultz from CCPD for helping to organize this. And of course, CCPD is here to help you if you do decide that you want to pursue applying to Enterprise or any other company for that matter. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And our email is careerdev@post.edu, or you can come to Newark 103. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but I'd like to take an opportunity once again to say thank you to Katie for joining us. So let's give her